What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Power Story Podcast or the ThriveAfterSports Podcast, wherever you're listening. It's your boy, Taj Deshaun, Vice President of Self-Publish in 30 Days. Folks, I'm here today with a very special guest. I know I said that about a lot of people, but this man is like a brother to me. We both went to Stony Brook University together. His nickname is Yael Boogie, you know what I'm saying? But I'm here with Mr. Yael Saint-Armand. What's going on, Yael?
Yo, what's going on, big dog? It is nothing but a pleasure, and it just warms my heart to be here and connect with you,
Man, it's a pleasure just to
bro.
watch the growth, man. We are both on grown man business now. You know what I'm saying? To say the least. Just a little bit of background. Me and Yayo used to turn up together. This was the guy who, when you want to know where the party's at, we call Yaya on a Friday night. Matter of fact, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday. It doesn't matter what the night is. Where's the party at? Oh, we out. We're going to the city.
You already know.
And me being just a dude from California, just having the plug in New York. Low key, Yaya is like the mayor of New York. You know what I'm saying? I know he's going on to bigger and better things. He's on his grown man business, man. But let's just dive in, man. Let's talk about everything you got going on now. You have your company, Watch the Gap. Why don't you just let listeners know a little bit about what Watch the Gap is about?
Okay, so Watch the Gap, or at least the current iteration of Watch the Gap, is a concept that I came up with, and I tried to move a concept into a physical construct. So I don't know, but sometime this year, I had got like a eureka moment, had inspiration to do something for individuals who are marginalized in wellness. So, or just the marginalized in general. I understood the theory of the 99 and 1, how many people understand it, are along economical lines, right? So the 1% of the world holds 99% of the world's wealth. And I was like, wait, I can take that model and change it to something social and cultural. So for me, it's like there are 99% of the world who remains marginalized, the victimized, the abused, the homeless, the broken, the abandoned. And there's 1% of us who are very fortunate to never have to endure or to sit through these things, right? So Watch the Gap was my attempt to really create the world's first wellness cartel. Like that's what it will look like down the line, but we'll get there. So the gap was something I came from. I am someone who came from Haiti. When I first came to this country, I lived in a boiler room. So I am part of the gap myself. Individuals who come from the gap are born at the intersection of pain, prayer, perseverance, and pride. So it was for me to really understand that, as I move forward in life, I'm not going to turn my back on the places and spaces that I came from. So currently Watch the Gap is pushing out an apparel line and athleisure line to really try to cement an entry into that kind of sportswear world. Currently, athleisure doesn't really address the needs of the marginalized. It doesn't look at people whose bodies are different, or those of us who cannot really maintain an image in fitness, right? So I want to have sizes up to like 6XL. I want to have clothes for children, supportive clothes for the elderly. Make a brand that makes it feel like a more we and less me kind of thing. So that's where we are right now.
Wow, man, that's powerful. A wellness cartel. That's a phrase that,
Mm-hmm.
when you hear it, it's a lot of power behind that, man. It's a lot of power behind that. And if you're watching this on video, folks, I know that it's way more than apparel. I know the apparel is really just kind of a way to push forward the actual mission itself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if anyone's watching this on video right now, the gear is top notch. My cart is full right now. I'm about to order my gear. Just understand, Yaya knows what he's doing. This is not. You see some people, man, they put out merch and it shows up in the mail and you're like, I'll just, put this in the drawer somewhere. At least I support it, but but you can already tell just by the way it fits, the quality of materials. I can't wait for my pack to show up, man, so I can rock the gear and know also that it's going towards a great cause, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to something that you said, man. Like you touched on that 1%. And I think that a lot of people, when they hear 1%, they immediately go into, the Illuminati, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And all that type of stuff. Versus if you are here with us right now, you're part of the 1% of the world because you have a phone or a laptop or whatever you're watching this on.
Mm-hmm.
You have Wi-Fi service, you have something. So you touched on being in a boiler room, man. Like, obviously you came out of that, you put yourself through school and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But just talk about the inception, because you didn't just wake up maybe you did, but just talk about like how it was birthed. Like we went to college together, man. We know that. But after college, like what led up to you starting this and having this idea and just launching it off the ground?
So, Watch the Gap is something that occurred in 3 stages. So, as you guys know, as Taj had spoken about, I was very turned up in college. So, Watch the Gap for me was a figurative allegory to literally me, myself. I have a gap. So, it was always like, watch Yaya. He's always doing something wild. He's always out and about. And that's what it was. Then, as I started getting into fitness and moving into wellness, I don't know how many of you guys know, but I won Stony Brook's first ever bodybuilding competition. So that in and of itself served as like a beacon of light to a lot of people. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, this guy's always turning up drunk and doing all this, but he's still maintaining a semblance of physical wellness, of mental wellness, of spiritual wellness. So then that's when I adopted the phrase, don't tell me your basement before you know your ceiling. There are a lot of people that are coming to me like, yo, I'm about to be stronger than you. I'm going to outshine you. I'm going to do this, this, and that. And I'm like, no, as you are doing that and as I'm motivating you, you're motivating me to grow as well. I'm going to continue to get stronger, continue to get faster, continue to acquire skills. So it's like, watch the gap between me and you, because it's something that will continue to grow, but you are continually moving along a spectrum of growth and progress. So that's what it became. And then this year I realized like, hey, this platform has so much more potential to develop into something even greater than myself. So I tell people the world had to die for me to be born. That whole
Wow.
drinking and turning up lifestyle, I abandoned it. So I was no longer living as Yaya and moved into a space where I was Yael, really walking in my name and walking my purpose. So then that's where I came up with the concept of Watch the Gap. For anybody who's been at train stations, who've been to airports or whatever, there's a sign that says Watch the Gap. But people cross the gap all the time. No one's ever watching. Think of the social services sector. Students who receive special education, individuals who are intellectually, developmentally delayed, shelters, homeless shelter. They look terrible. We live in a postmodern society. We live in a post-developed world. This is the US. Why are these things still looking like that? And it's far worse outside of the world. So I told myself, some way, somehow, I'm going to become the Pablo Escobar of wellness, and I need to be the blade that reshapes the world. I need to be that person that inspires, the person that motivates, because again, I come from that place, and I'd like more people to rally together and move as like we're individual threads in a whole human tapestry. So that's what the final version is. And then hopefully down the line, we can really make a wellness cartel where I network individuals, ideas, and institutions to promote well-being and wellness around the world.
Wow, man. The Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, the
Wellness,
Pablo Escobar wellness.
That's fine, man. I forgot to ask you too. Why don't you explain to the people what your name is, Yael?
Oh, so my name in and of itself, Yael, is a name that comes from the Bible, a female heroine called Jael, who had slain a general to save the people of Israel. So my name means God's strength. And, back in the day, God's strength for me meant getting faded and then wake up in the morning and hit you with a 500 deadlift. Now it just means to endure and to persevere and really move with that understanding that I can do so much more, right? And I'm just empowered to do so.
Yeah, that's crazy. You really did. You used to do. You just took
They
me
don't
back
even
down
know,
memory lane. And that was the thing that I loved about you. Like, we could go out and act wild, but the next day we were off some pre-workout. Well, I was off the pre-workout, but we were in the gym. You know what I mean? Still hitting the weights. That's one of the things I respected most about you. We're gonna party hard, but we're gonna hit these weights hard too, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's major, bro. I don't think it's a coincidence that that's your name, man. It's one of those things where it's just like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you can't call that a coincidence. There's no way.
Can't.
Nah, man, there's no way. Let's get into like, what is the vision for the future? Let's talk about how it actually works, because I kind of see you like almost like a Robin Hood type figure too. Not that you're robbing the rich, right? But back to that 1%, what you're doing is providing a service, or collecting donations from the 1%, which is us too, not just the, once again, for all you folks into the Illuminati, calm down. We're not talking about that 1%. We're talking about you and I, okay? So, but you're not taking from them, but transferring that, those resources, not just financial, but resources, attention to that gap, to those people who are in need around the world. I'm looking at your story, man. You got to follow this man on IG. It's at Watch the Gap on IG, right?
Yep, @_Watch the Gap. Yep.
Right. So I've watched the growth of the year. I'm seeing all the messages come in, man, from people around the world, bro. Thank you so much. I didn't have a bed to sleep on. Like, how are you actually doing this from a structural standpoint? I know you have the merch, I know you have the
Mhm.
donations, but like, how are you actually transferring this wealth to help out those in need, those in the gap, as you said?
So the first thing that I had realized this year, unfortunately, I was laid off, right? So at the beginning of the year, I was a teacher, decided to quit my job and launch into personal training, but we saw what happened because of COVID. So the transformational moment that occurred to me was when I was scrolling on Instagram and I had stumbled upon this page, like it's almost like a Jamaican TMZ. And there was a woman who had posted or made a status or sent it to that person, saying that she was being abused, she was being victimized, she didn't have a place to sleep, and so on and so forth. And, for me, when I see these things, I'm very sensitive to them. So I saw a lot of people like it. No one said anything. So I'm like, I'll help. So now that particular individual did reach out to me, and from there, that kind of spawned the development of my social enterprise, Women First. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to first address this need that occurs in Jamaica and in the Caribbean at large, right? So then I started to send money, send money, send money, because I was getting that unemployment check, y'all. Listen, and I realized that in a very amateur fashion, I could become a venture capitalist. I can become an angel investor. If you really think about the dollar conversion rate in some of these countries, it's very high. So as I'm sending money, they're asking me for like 20 for diapers and this and that. I realized that this is a problem. And this was not a sustainable way for me to help or support. So then I had consulted with a woman in Jamaica who had helped me develop a structure where we provide micro grants for sustainable businesses. So one of the bigger businesses in Jamaica is selling chickens. So what we would do, we would provide grants for women to get refrigerators, for women to buy chickens, and then structure it in a way that as they sold, they put back into the organization. So to open up bank accounts for them, to make sure that they had a place to sleep and live and so on and so forth. So for me, it's like I live a selfishness model where I create for the world so that it's returned unto me. So I realized like, hey, if you send in Jamaican dollars back to the US, I'll get cents. But when I come to Jamaica and I'm here to celebrate and live, I'm good. You know what I mean? I have a place to stay. I have food to eat. I have a bank account I can withdraw money. So I said, you know what? That represents a dimension of wellness that I'm very interested in, which is the social wellness part.
Hmm.
Wellness is an 8-dimensional model, like I spoke about. It's spiritual, it's intellectual, emotional, physical, social, occupational, financial, and environmental. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, if you're able to create a product in each of these areas to service individuals, you will truly promote wellness and you will truly promote purpose. So, for example, for the occupational dimension of wellness, I have a freelancer website called Work the Gap. And what I did, I looked at Fiverr. I looked at their model. I leveraged a lot of freelancers on Fiverr, and I noted that they didn't treat them the right way. So what I did, I cloned Fiverr and made my own website that had all the benefits that Fiverr did not have. Going
Mm.
to financial wellness, I got into algorithmic trading, um, using code to make trades for me and really trying to understand that. So then I began to sell that as a way for people to have their own wallet that makes them money, or you can have a saving account that gives you a return of 3 to 10% monthly, right? As far as physical wellness, I consulted with a physiotherapist and a nutritionist to design over 15 workout plans. I have postnatal, prenatal, I have fat burning for men and women, lean muscle building for men and women, workouts for children, middle schoolers, for the elderly as well. And I'm coming out with more workout programs for those who suffer from intellectual delays, physical delays, because those are the marginalized as well. Those who are extremely obese, created something for that. As far as occupational wellness, I tried to lead by example. I'm a middle school teacher, and everything I do for my children, right? I live at the intersection of purpose, paycheck, and passion. So that was my way of trying to push that out there. As far as the emotional, intellectual, and spiritual parts, I'm still trying to figure out how to create a product for that. For the spiritual dimension, I do have an ebook that teaches you the power of positive thinking as I use it. Because this year I did go through something challenging. We'll talk about it. And from there, this current iteration of me was birthed. Like everyone, like Taj said, I was a very different individual back then. Everyone saw the glimmers and the inklings of who I am now, but this was the first realization of it. And my bottom line, Taj, was there's so much money to be made in Vice. It's so easy to do that. You already know how we were living in college. Very few people actualize the potential to monetize virtue. And I like to draw a parallel. What if Martin Luther King came out with his own brand? What if Mother Teresa started making do-rags, or Gandhi started making eyewear, or Princess Diana coming out with sneakers, or Michelle Obama making her own athleisure? They'd be rich beyond measure. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, it's for me to move along that line. It's purpose over profit, people over profit. And when you do that, when you start to really leverage human capital, you gain so much more. To give an even greater parallel, there are almost 8 billion people on this planet. If you create a 1 cent product for 8 billion people to consume, how much money you gonna get? So
Right.
that's the angle that I move along. The selling of the algorithmic trading and codes that has netted me a decent amount of money. Also, I will be pushing out the ebook as well and trying to have all these products not as a way to say, well, you need to buy this, this, or that, but more so if you indulge in these things, this is the dimension of wellness that you'll be participating in. And hopefully that this product can resonate with you and bring you more to your purpose and more to being human.
Oh man. So
I know, it's mad. So
no,
essentially, I look to be the Google of wellness. So Google is a
yeah.
platform. I'm looking to create that. So Google has Gmail, Google has Calendar, Google has cloud computing, Google has all of these things, but come under the Google umbrella. So Watch the Gap aims
Right.
to be an umbrella. Like I have my own social network as well. That down the line, I'd like to network individuals. Hey, this is our space. This is an inclusive space that we have that's very protected. You know what I mean? And I go hard for mine. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah,
just
no question.
yeah. You already know. You already know.
In case that wasn't clear by now, you know. And just a second ago, yeah, I wasn't saying, oh man, because it was like, oh, so much. I'm not gonna lie. The first time you told me about it, I was
I
like,
know.
I don't know if my brain is big enough to wrap around. But it's funny, like now you going through everything again. This is like my second, probably really third time
Third,
hearing
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, now I get it. I started to
Yeah.
visualize it. Now I understand what it is that you're really doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to take a step back just to acknowledge you, man, because we're nowhere near the end of this interview yet, but just acknowledge you for like how proud of you I am as a brother,
I
man,
know.
to see
Thank you.
you doing this, dog. Like this is major, and you're a prime example of everything that I believe in. Even from the jump when I took the leap and started my business working with athletes, like I was always trying to drill this into their heads. You can earn a living by helping other people. And we're fortunate to live in a time where we can do that. And you're doing it on such a grand scale, bro. And it's only the beginning. Like you said, you haven't even fully tackled all of the 8 areas yet, but you already got, 5, 6, 7 of them in motion already.
Right.
That's major, man. So, okay, let's I'm gonna try to use an example. Like, give me some examples if you can. Obviously, I know you can't drop any names, but of how I was talking earlier about the people who I've seen you, sending stuff. Just give me some examples of lives that have been touched already. Not to toot your own horn, but just talk about what the
Yeah, for
system you're
sure.
building is actually doing. Yeah. Tell me
Okay.
about that, man.
So when I was first coming up with Watch the Gap, the platform, and I was like, hey, I need help, I had realized that there were a lot of freelancers. Right? COVID has created a skill-based world. So it put a lot of people out of work. So now they're just offering their skills and offering their whatever on websites, freelancing websites like Fiverr. So then when I jumped on Fiverr, I noted that a number of the individuals offering their skills were not from the United States. A lot of them were from Nigeria. A lot of them were from Pakistan, India, and developing countries. So when I would work with them, I took note again of the US dollar conversion rate. They were working to survive. They were not working to promote their skill. They weren't working to grow their brand. So after working with a number of individuals, I realized that, no, you're human too. Call me Yael. Let's network outside of this. Because in Fiverr, there's certain conversations that you cannot have. And I'm like, this is very punitive in nature. You're taking so much away from these people, who struggle to even have a cup of coffee, who struggle to even have food. So now that I started talking to a number of them in WhatsApp on a very personal level and realizing like, yo, you guys are my age and younger. So now let's work on certain projects for the long term. So my YouTube was developed by a woman in Pakistan. She helped me grow it to 900 and change. I had also my freelancing website developed by a guy that I love in India. He's super cool. This Watch the Gap, my actual brand logo was developed by someone who lived in Italy. So I realized, almost like the Matrix, I can network minds. I don't need a physical person. So a lot of what you saw was them just thanking me and just being thankful because they work behind the scenes and they work so hard to support me. And we talk almost every single day. And, they show me the impact that I've had in their lives. So from there, moving on to the social enterprise women first, when I visited Jamaica and I saw how some of these women lived and I saw how grateful they were that I entered their life, it brought me to tears. So I can even share a personal story. One of the women that I work with or that I support, she was someone who was brutally beaten and raped by her baby daddy, abandoned and left to fend for her own. And when I came in the picture, she was just imploring me for just like $5 to eat. So, I didn't mind. I was like, go ahead. And in speaking to her personally, she slept outside. She shared with me a story that almost broke my heart. She had said she was living with a woman and they used to sell a business in Jamaica. They sell household products. And there was one time that she was so thirsty that she mistakenly drank a cup of bleach and almost died because she thought it was water. And that's just
Wow.
one of many, many, many stories. Another one of the women that I worked with while I was there was actually kidnapped and beaten as well. Um, and then for me to come in with a different masculine energy that exists in Jamaica was healing for them. You know what I mean?
Mm.
They're not used to a man being friendly. They're not used to a man not wanting anything. Some of them even came to me trying to curry sexual favors. And I'm like, no, I'm not here for that. I'm honestly here to heal, and I'm honestly here to show you that this is not the model of masculinity that needs to exist in the world. And there's just a number of stories around that. So, I had worked with like a core group of women, and every day, Taj, I can tell you from morning to night, they talk to me and they say how thankful they are. Like another woman, she has a number of health issues and she can't afford to go to the doctor. She could not afford to buy medication. And to us, it's chump change, it's like $20, but to her, it's way too much. So I began to send her seeds in order to grow her own garden so that she can sell that to make money. And I also help her with that as well because she was on her deathbed before I came into the picture. So this, to share with you some of the stories that these people go through, it's very shocking to see, the jarring juxtaposition between the way that we live and the way that we're fortunate to live, us as one percenters, and to see the rest of the world and the way they live. So that's pretty much what has been going on. And that's why you'll see them. And like a lot of them are my friends on Instagram as well. They'll leave commentary and all that. And I definitely try my best to always shout them out and when I can.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome, man. The fact that you've been able to, because you started
Mm-hmm.
early this year is when you
Yep,
launched
in
Watch the
May.
Gap
Yeah,
officially, right?
April
I
May.
know you were already doing work. Yeah. And then you touched on it earlier, man. You said you had some personal things that was going on in your life.
Yeah,
And obviously there's a lot of people in the world going through hard times right
yeah.
now. And I think, if you don't mind sharing
Yeah, of
what that
course.
was and how you use that as a catalyst to do everything you're doing now, because I think that could be inspiring
Yeah.
for a lot of people to hear about how you turn that pain into your purpose and what you're doing now, man.
Okay. So, unfortunately, this year, I want to say back in April, when I was coming up with Watch the Gap, I was very excited. No one really knew me as Yael, the creator. No one really knew who I was as Yael, the innovator. And as with any, form of innovation, it's very different and it's new. And anything that is different and new faces resistance. As human beings, we like the path of least resistance. So, I had brought it up to a friend. That friend had said I was bipolar, then told a whole group of friends. Now became a game of telephone. You know what I mean? And it's like, you cannot say something like that without proof. You're not certified. I had no official examination, nothing. And eventually that got back to my family. And my family and I have a very fractious relationship. I never came home when I went to college. So for them to hear that was shocking. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, because they heard that, they called the police on me. So this was a home that I have not been to in almost 28 years. And when I finally decided to return, that's what I was faced with. There were four officers. There are four white officers that came up in the crib and were like, oh, who called the police? And that broke me. To me, that was a betrayal that was biblical in nature. Like, I've done nothing ever to deserve this. Why are there four police cars and two ambulances outside of my house? Why do you believe the word of my friends over me? I've never displayed any of these things. So that was the moment for me that I really like to highlight. there were 4 white officers, right, who came in and were super confused. And then I made the decision to walk away because I was filled with a rage that I've never experienced. And I wanted to like fight my dad, fight my mom. I said certain things that, I probably should take back. But in that, I broke. But what I did instead, asked the police officers for a ride to my friend's house. And they were like, F out of here. And I was like, all right, I'm out. And I left. Literally, it was just that. I did not choose to sit and indulge in the negative emotion of that moment. I said, yeah, this is where you can walk your higher path. This is Yaya dying, and this is where Yael is born. So fortunately, there was a friend who had called me after like 7 years of not talking, which is crazy coincidence. And I explained to him what was happening. I told him I was hurt. I don't want to be in New York anymore. I have no friends. I got no family, nothing. And he's like, come to Colorado. Came to Colorado, and in 4 days, literally, as soon as I touched down, business opportunities. I had a job. I had housing, and I had a future. So I'm like, yo, I'm out. You know what I mean? I think we often forget that we are endowed with the most powerful force in the world, which is free will. You can do whatever, whenever, with whomever, in whichever way you want. Free will is so powerful. That's why we have prisons for people who abuse it, and jails and courtrooms and all of that, right? It's such a powerful force, and it's for us to understand how to actualize it and move it in our own life. So I said, complacency almost killed me, almost destroyed me. Everyone was so used to turn up yaya. Everyone was so used to going out and partying, and I'm outsourcing my energy. So I said, you know what, let me return it back to me and really figure out who I am and what it is that I'm meant to do here. And that's where we are now. But that situation destroyed me, I will say. It destroyed me. So like a phoenix, I just rose from the ashes, and I'm like, you know what? We're going to start over. I have several decades in front of me. Average human lifespan is what, like 75 to 80 years. If I divide that moment in time by 80, it's a fraction. So it's not for me to dwell on that. I ain't going to make a mountain into a molehill, but I'm not going to make a molehill into a mountain either. We're going to leave that in the past. The past is the past. Let's cement my present so that I can have a future. That's pretty much what led here.
We can end the episode right now, bro. You already given so much value. You already dropped so much. You already dropped so much on them. Like, I think, and it's just crazy, man, how it all started with someone just playing the game of telephone saying you were bipolar. Isn't it crazy how people, especially in our age group, they just throw that word around loosely? Like, oh, you're bipolar. Like, because you had you know what I'm saying? Like, you just throw it out there. And to have that level of betrayal, like you said, it almost forced you into a spot where you could have, you were probably at that fork in the road, man, and you chose the higher path, not only for yourself, but to serve other people. I think that's super inspirational, man. Thank you for being willing to share that part of your story and all that stuff, man. I gotta ask you, like, what do you envision? You already kind of touched on it earlier. The future of Watch the Gap. What it is now is already something that's never existed before, something that's already changing lives. You know what I'm saying? But let's dive into the future of it. What's the future of Watch the Gap?
So the future down the line, I'd like to integrate, again, individuals, ideas, and institutions. So for me, this is not a me brand, it's a we brand. In and of the W itself, it represents the process of constant evolution. So this is where you are, or this is where you used to be, this is where you are, and this is where you're going. As you advance, where you're going becomes where you are. You know what I mean? You never leave that space of where you are. So it's like, all right, in this process of constant evolution, and as I grow, I don't want this to be a singular journey. If Watch the Gap is to address the needs of the marginalized, there's so many people out here moving in wellness, moving in well-being, individuals like yourself, individuals like myself. So now I was thinking of creating like a super team, almost like an Avengers. It's not like you're operating under me. I ain't your boss, but you affiliate with the ideations and the ideas of Watch the Gap. Just like, again, creating a wellness platform. Everyone is all over, and there's no one place that people can go to and get service. Earlier this year, I had created a wellness, like inventory. So you can go to that site and see what wellness professionals live in your area. Because we're being forced to change the way we move as people because of COVID, it's like, what can we use to enter that future? People are being forced to look at themselves now. Everyone is changing. Some people have been broken by 2020. Some people have been blessed by 2020. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, the wellness industry is exploding. The wellness industry is growing. But what is wellness? Who is at the helm? Where's the Jeff Bezos of wellness? Here. So I wanted to understand like, hey, how can I best network? How can we best support each other? How can we form a super team so that when people see this logo, when people hear Watch the Gap, they immediately recognize this is a place that where they can belong. This is a safe space for them. And it's not just me, it's you, it's her, it's them, it's this group, you know what I mean? All operating under an umbrella that we feel safe and comfortable being under. So hopefully, in 10 years, I always tell people I prefer the 10 years over the 10K. I want this to be a sustainable thing. I want to still be here when I'm 40. I want to still be here when I'm 50. And I want it to be a legion of us just moving with the singular purpose of healing the world.
Right. Well said, man. And on that note, what kind of people are you looking to connect with? Like, obviously, anyone can support what you're doing and be involved with it. But as far as like, if someone's like, man, I'm loving what I'm hearing right now, I got to find out more about Watch the Gap. I got to find out more about Yael.
Yeah.
I got to yeah. That's the old. Yael.
You good? You good?
Bro. But like if people want to, I'm not talking about how to get in touch with you, but like what type of people are you looking to connect with?
So when it comes to wellness, like I said, there are 8 dimensions of it, and those look very different. So like physical wellness. Physical wellness is not just limited to personal trainers. There are yogis. There are people who are into tarot readings. There are people who are into astrology. I shouldn't say astrology, but like yogis. What else? People who are into hiking. There are so many different forms of it. So in physical wellness, we can have an inventory, a whole list of individuals who promote that. In financial wellness, it's not just algorithmic trading. I can link up with a banker. I can link up with someone who's into investments. Like you see, the Robinhood thing is blowing up. So traders and all of that can come under that group. If you align with any of these dimensions, I'm definitely looking to connect with you and to get jiggy with you and to really hear your vision. I'm a very outcome-based individual. I like to see the end and then build that bridge to get there. No matter how long it's going to take, no matter how long it is, we're going to do it together. So anyone who has any idea of how to promote wellness, let's do it. You know what I mean? So for me, it's the entire world. If I see a little kid who's organizing a game at the playground, oh, you got an idea. I like the way you move. You are a leader and you promote wellness. Let's get along with you. You, Taj, the way you support athletes and the way you really promote that kind of emotional and spiritual wellness. It's not very explicit. You don't say it, but that's what you're growing and developing in them. I align with you and we just get it together. All it takes, you slap a little W at the bottom and that's it. That's it. That's literally it. I want to work through an affiliate model where, I believe in horizontal integration. We're all on the same path, not vertical integration. I'm nobody's boss, horizontally, so that we can grow as a platform together. We're forever expanding our borders through networking and all that. So if anyone is interested, or if anyone has any ideas, anything collaborative in nature, I am all for it. Like I said, this is something new. Like you said, I just started in May, but I would like to grow this into something for a lifetime.
Man, horizontal integration. That's a new one, bro. I heard of vertical integration, but you got so many different phrases you need to coin, man. First it was wellness cartel, first, you know what I'm saying? Now you got the horizontal integration. I like that, man. I like that. I consider myself someone who is really into horizontal integration as well, but I never thought about it like that before. That's dope.
Yep. That's dope. So if you remember, like when we used to cut out those snow angels, they didn't go like that. They went like this. If you ever seen a picture when the children are holding hands across the world, it ain't never like this. It's like this, expanding the horizon. The horizon don't go like that. It goes like this. So for me, it's like in order to network with individuals and to integrate them or to integrate myself in what they're doing, we got to hold hands. I'm not standing on anyone's shoulders. So that's what I'll come with that.
I love that, bro. I love that philosophy. And I think that that's really what's needed in these times too, because especially in a time where everyone wants to be, an entrepreneur, everyone wants to be top dog. Everyone wants to be like, I'm the man. I built this. I did that. I did this app. Whereas finding people you can run with and collaborate and work on projects together, everybody wins, man. I love to see you really leaning into that. That's something I really started to lean into. I was never trying to be Mr. Top Dog, but I spent a lot of time. I'm an introverted dude, so I spend a lot of time being solo dolo, the lone wolf, the solopreneur. And now, as I've really started to branch out and do exactly what you're talking about, focus on that horizontal integration, man, things are popping up that I never even had considered before. Like, different opportunities, you meet all these people. Man, so All
It's
right,
crazy.
let's talk about this, man. I want to have you
Mhm.
give some advice to the audience because a lot of people listening on the Power of Story are entrepreneurs, are
Mhm.
aspiring entrepreneurs. A lot of people who listen to Thrive After Sports, you know, they work with athletes or they're transitioning athletes, and for whatever reason, a lot of people will gravitate to me. They want to get into entrepreneurship, right?
Mhm.
So if you could just give some advice to that person out there who maybe they have an idea like you had,
Mhm.
because at one point, before it was on the shirt, before it was on your bandana, before it was, you know, spreading across the world, at one
Mhm.
point Watch the Gap was just an idea in your
Yep.
head, bro. So to people who have ideas that may be scared to run with them, then what are people
Mhm.
going to think or all that type of stuff, what advice would you give to those people?
The easiest advice I could give: fail forward. The only move is
Mm.
the next move. The only step is the next step. That's it. If you change your perspective, if you change the way that you see life, you'll understand that fear is a mind killer. Right? It's a tiny little evil that will eat you from the inside out and completely consume you to the point of nothingness. So fail forward. You can only know if your idea will be successful, if it'll take root, if you just put it out there. You know what I mean? Put those energies out there, see what happens, and then get back to the drawing board. I think in a very longitudinal fashion. I don't think about tomorrow. I think about 10 years of tomorrow. I don't think about, now. I think about the 10 years of now. So don't hesitate. You know what I mean? If you're sitting on an idea, you think it's good, put it out for the world. That's what I come back to the business models. There's a selfish selflessness model. This is my idea. Let me figure out how to do it so then I can put it out there. Or there's a selfless selfishness model. These are the gifts that are given to me from above. Let me put it out and share with the world and see what happens. You know what I mean? So fail forward, be bold, be brave. It's all good. Don't hesitate. You know what I mean? And have faith in you. Let your faith in yourself be your foundation. That's the strongest thing you can stand on. And then when other people begin to acknowledge that, they're gonna stand on it with you. Matter of fact, they're gonna lift you up and say, like, you need to continue to grow and you need to continue to be you. So be you for you and just fail forward.
Wow, man. That's some powerful words to wrap it up, man. Before we get out of here, please tell people how they can get in touch, how they can support the movement, how they can learn more, all that good stuff, man. Tell people how to catch up with you.
Yeah, most definitely. So we are working on the website, watchthegap.nyc. It is not finished yet. I'm going very hard to develop it into something that everyone can join. But if you want to holler at me, underscore watch the gap on Instagram, just shoot me a message. That's the easiest place to get to me, or watchthegap1@gmail.com. If you need any type of consulting, any type of advice, or anything, just hit me. I'm super open. We could Zoom it, we could Google Meet it, you could hit my line, we could do whatever it is. So the easiest place would be my Instagram. And as we grow and develop different avenues of connection, you guys can reach me there. But for now, IG, email, I'm here.
That's what's up, man. Did you say watchthegap.nyc?
That's the original website.
Oh, that's next level, bro.
You see me? Yeah, so
Man,
that's
that's
where we
real
started.
pride right there, man. That's real East Coast pride right there, bro. I respect it. That's
You
dope.
already know.
Man, hey, man, before we get out of here, I just want to thank you again for coming on, for spending some time, for dropping
Always.
value bomb after value bomb on the audience, man. Your story is like once we reconnected, whenever we always been in touch, but we had
Yeah,
that
of
real good
course.
convo a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, whenever it was. And I was like, man, we got to get y'all on the podcast, man. We got to get y'all on the podcast, bro.
You
But I
already
just want to
know. I
acknowledge you,
appreciate it.
man. No doubt, man. I just want to say, not only for coming on and sharing, but thank you for everything you're doing out in the world, man. Like
Of course.
your grind inspires my grind. I watch what you're doing, and I'm like, man, Yaya's on a whole different level. I got to step it up, man. I got to keep going, bro. So I appreciate you for all that. And yeah, man, any parting words for the audience? Anything you want to say to anybody before we get on out of here?
um, Believe in you, never lose hope, and just keep grinding. Like I said, the only move is the next move. And when you fail forward, whether you fall on your face or you fall on your feet, you're gonna be all right.
Bars. And with that being said, folks, this has been another episode of The Power of Story. If you're listening on Thrive After Sports, thank you for tuning in there. You've been tapped in with the man, the myth, the legend himself, the founder of Watch the Gap, Mr. Yael Saint-Armand, aka Yaya, aka Ya Boogie. You might want to run this episode back and take some notes this time around. With that being said, folks, we're gonna get on out of here. We love you. Get in touch
Always.
with Yaya. Reach out to this man. Everybody be cool. Be blessed. We'll see you next time.
You already know. Stay up.